Welcome back to another episode of Play by Play presented by Win or Lose Sports. Visit us online at winorloseshow.com, winorloseshow.com, and all of our social media is at Win or Lose. This is episode number 28. So on this episode, I want to talk about a recent article that was posted on our website at winorloseshow.com. The article was about LeBron James winning his third gold medal and the fact that he won the MVP and was arguably the best player in the world at the time during the Olympics, when you had players like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, and other players around the world like Jokic, and the question is, or was, is that does what LeBron accomplished with the Olympic team give him the seat at the head of the table when it comes to the GOAT conversation? Now, the GOAT conversation to me is different than what other people argue, because I don't believe that there is one greatest of all time, because the way sports, the way athletes are, and the way things evolve and develop over years and over time, there is no real way to tell who is the greatest of all time, because the sport has changed. Pro basketball has changed so much, even with rule changes, with hand checking, with the way they call travel or the lack thereof, with calling travel, and the way the game is played. Now you can play zone. Now, back then you couldn't play zone. You get illegal defense calls. Now there's 3 seconds on defense now. So the game has changed. The development of athletes has changed over time. When you look at a 39-year-old LeBron James, who is probably more in shape than a lot of 30-year-olds who don't play pro basketball, who never played pro basketball, but still play basketball on a regular basis. But the 10-year difference between a 39-year-old LeBron and a 29-year-old athlete, a regular athlete, a non-pro athlete, is a huge difference, because LeBron now spends more than $1 million with keeping his body in shape for basketball, specifically for basketball. You're talking about year round. There's no one in this world as a regular person, as a regular athlete who goes to the gym every day, is going to spend $1 million on his body for any particular sport or event. But because LeBron James does that, that makes a huge difference in age. He's not aging like a normal person. He's not aging like a normal athlete. Not even a normal NBA athlete, because of the way that he's taken care of his body over the years and the lack of injuries for the first, I would say, 15 to 16 years in the league. There was no significant injury to LeBron James, and the only injury he's ever had that I believe was a groin injury a few times when he was in LA. But going back to this conversation of why LeBron is basically at the head of this table, is because of everything that he's like. First of all, let me preface by saying this: I am a huge Jordan fan. If you look at my wall right here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Jordan posters, a Jordan jersey in a frame, a couple of other Bulls paraphernalia in my office, on my wall. I have a Jordan wall. There's no LeBron wall in here anywhere, but there's a Jordan wall in my office. So I just want to say that, I'm a huge Jordan fan and believe that Jordan is the greatest basketball player ever seen on a court. He is the most phenomenal athlete to ever grace a basketball court, the greatest winner of all time because he's so determined to win at all costs. On the other hand, LeBron is and could be argued as the greatest athlete to ever grace a basketball court, the greatest I won't say athlete, the greatest phenom to ever grace a basketball court, meaning that from 18 years old to almost 40 years old, I'm talking about 22 years, he has been in the top 10 of players throughout that time in 22 years. Jordan couldn't do that. Jordan didn't do that because one, and this is no fault of his own. This does not take away from who Jordan is because he left and played baseball for a year and a half, and then retired again at 38 or 36 and came back at 39 and played for the Wizards. So this is no fault. This is just the pathway of their career. But because Jordan did that, he limited himself with the accomplishments that LeBron James has accomplished over the years, not taking away anything from Jordan. So Jordan fans, don't get all your panties in a bunch and say, "Oh my God, he's a LeBron," whatever y'all call people that loves LeBron. I'm not that. I'm sorry. I'm a basketball fan. I'm a basketball aficionado, whatever you call whatever that term is. I love basketball. I love watching basketball. I love talking basketball. But what I can't do is talk basketball with people who say, "Oh, LeBron James, he loaded his team and got a super team. That's the only way he won his championships." No, he was a smart basketball player. Probably one of the smartest basketball players to ever play basketball. He made a decision and left Cleveland and said, "Okay, Cleveland is not doing what needs to be done for me to win a championship or for me to be successful." When you're at a job and you're thinking this is a corporate job, right? And you're thinking, okay, they're not putting the pieces in place. I'm a marketing director, but they're not giving me a graphic designer that's going to give me the graphics that I need to put out the material that we need to market what we need to market. They're not giving me the sales team to go out and sell the product for me to be able to market anything. So we're not bringing in money. We don't have the right material. So me as a marketing director, I'm like, okay, what do I do? Okay, if you're not bringing me the right pieces in place, I have to move on. I have to go to a organization that's going to put the pieces around me for me to be successful. So of course, I'm going to go talk to Miami. They already have a great graphic designer in Dwayne Wade. So now let's talk to Dwayne. Let's talk to the CEO. Let's talk to Pat Riley. Let's talk to the CFO. Let's talk to Eric Spoelstra. What can we do? Who else can we bring in? Can we bring in Carmelo, who's a great salesman, probably one of the clutch salesmen of all time because he don't miss? Or can we bring in a big body like Chris Bosh, who's going to do all the cleanup for us and fill in the missing pieces that we don't have? That's exactly what happened. So they put in missing pieces. They brought in Mike Miller. I think he was already there, but they had Mike Miller. They brought in Ray Allen, I think, year 2. But the point is, LeBron used this as a business move. And you want to discredit it as putting together a super team? Yes. Jordan didn't have to do that because he had a GM that was smart enough to do that. Jerry Krause was smart enough to say, okay, we have Jordan. Let's draft Scottie Pippen. Let's get a trade from Seattle. Seattle, we'll draft Olden Polynice for you. You draft Scottie for us. We'll make the trade on draft day, and we'll see what happens. Scottie was a perfect fit for Michael Jordan because he can accompany him. He can filling the void that Michael didn't have. Scottie was a better 3-point shooter. Scottie was a better defender, even though Jordan was an all-time great defender. But Scottie was a better defender than Jordan when it comes to one-on-one defense. Jordan was more of an off-ball defender. He can fill the lanes and make those steals. He can block the shots of the big man down low from behind. He can make those steals. He can, and Scottie could guard the bigger guards like Magic Johnson and guard the bigger forwards. And then the second time around, they brought in Dennis Rodman. Had the conversation with him. Do what you want to do, but on the court, you're gonna do what we need you to do. Get rebounds and defend. Jerry Krause made that move. Cleveland didn't have that to make those moves. They didn't have a GM to make those moves. They didn't have a smart GM to make those moves. So LeBron made a decision to go to Miami. Let's win. They won 2 down there. So he said, okay, it's time to go back home. Went back home, 1-1 in Cleveland. The biggest move that people hate was when he went to, well, I would say the biggest move that the Lakers fans hate is that he went to LA. Because most Lakers fans didn't respect LeBron because he came in as a phenom. And he came in as a phenom, and he came in as arguably one of the best players in the world. When guess who was still in the league? Kobe. So, and Lakers fans love Kobe, of course. So because LeBron James came in the league as arguably one of the best players in the world, a lot of Lakers fans had the whataboutisms. And we get that a lot on our page. What about this person? Y'all post this person. What about this person? Okay, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to that person. So a lot of Lakers fans are like, what about Kobe? Kobe's still here. Kobe is still one of the best players in the world. But there's another guy who's 6'8", 260 pounds, who can run like a running back, a wide receiver, and can shoot, can jump, can score, can defend, and can do everything. He can pass the ball like Magic Johnson, who can score like Jordan, and cares about winning and getting his other teammates involved. That's the separation between Kobe and LeBron. LeBron, for a fact, was known as a pass first player. Over the years, he developed his jump shot and his fadeaway or whatever, and became a prolific scorer. And that's why he's the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. But the argue over the Kobe and LeBron thing is in LA is dumb. A lot of Lakers fans are butthurt, and their feelings are hurt because they feel that Kobe didn't get the recognition that LeBron is getting right now. And Kobe did in LA. And people still love Kobe in LA and all across the world. But Kobe was a different type of person and had a different type of personality. And everybody knows that. Everybody who watched basketball, and Lakers fans, you should know this. Kobe was not a people person when he was playing basketball. Kobe didn't hang out with the team when he was playing basketball. Kobe wasn't nice to a lot of people when he was playing basketball. Now, after retirement, Kobe, that's a different person. Kobe was the most lovable person in the world after retirement because he didn't have to have that Mamba mentality. He didn't have that killer. He didn't have to have that killer on all the time. But LeBron, on the other hand, is a people person. He loves to please people. He pleases his teammates. He pleases his family. He pleases the organization. And that's why they say, oh, he's kissing up to Jenny Buss, and that's why he's getting all these stipulations and stuff. He can do what he wants to do in LA. He can bring in all the players he wants. No, LeBron, they recognize the intelligence in LeBron as a basketball player, as a person who knows basketball, and they allow him the flexibility to do or to make these suggestions of who to bring in or who to kick out and who to move around in that organization. They trust him as a leader of the team. That's one thing that Kobe didn't get. They didn't get to that point to where they trusted Kobe with the organization. Like I said, because Kobe was a different player, because Kobe had a different personality, and now Lakers fans are like, well, LeBron's not nothing. They won the championship in the bubble. That doesn't count. They won the first in-season tournament. That doesn't count. That's a fake championship. That's a fake trophy. We don't hang those type of banners. And I'm sure you don't hang those type of banners in LA. I understand that. We don't hang divisional championships in LA. Cool. You don't hang in-season tournaments in LA. Okay. If you don't do that, you don't do that. But the fact of the matter is that he accomplished what nobody else in the league accomplished. They were the first team to win the in-season tournament when people didn't think that they could win anything with that team. And they did. The year before, they made it to the Western Conference Championship and played the Denver Nuggets, getting swept or not. They played the Denver Nuggets when people didn't think that they were going to make it to the playoffs. After winning the play-in tournament, going and advancing to the Western Conference Championship, even though they didn't win, but they still accomplished that with LeBron ahead of that team. Last year, LeBron showed people that they still have a fight in them. Now, with the draft of Bronny James to LA, now people are saying, oh, you're using nepotism to bring in your son to play basketball with you. When you look at business move in corporate America, there's a lot of times to where the marketing directors say, hey, I have a son who's going to school for marketing. He's an ace. You got to bring him in. CEO, you got to bring him in, boss. President, you got to bring him in. He's a great guy. You could meet with him. We could talk with him. I'll leave my hands. It's up to you. But I'm just saying that's a good guy. He can be an asset to our team, or we can show him the ropes. We can put him in a developmental partnership and get him going. Once he's to that point, we can bring him on and put him in full time. That's what happens. That's what happened when he got Bronny and he got drafted to LA. Hey, I'm saying that's my kid. They can develop him. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We can put him in a developmental contract when he gets drafted and see what he does in the G League or wherever, or even on on the roster, and see what happens. So he's just making these moves as a intelligent business person, as an intelligent basketball player, as an intelligent basketball aficionado. LeBron James is probably the smartest basketball player to ever play. Now, the GOAT conversation, Jordan, Kareem, LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, Wilt. Now, I just believe that there's a table, the greatest of all time table. There could never be one person to say this is the greatest person to play basketball of all time. Basketball was different in the 70s, 60s with Kareem when he was at his peak. 60s and 70s. In the 70s I'll say 60s with Bill Russell when he was at his peak. 70s with Wilt and Kareem. The 80s with Magic, Bird, and Jordan. 90s with Jordan and Shaq. And 2000s with Kobe and LeBron. All those different eras, basketball was totally different. When we look at basketball in the 80s, and look at the scores, 135 to 115, they were putting up numbers because defense was different. The game was moving a lot faster than what it was. I'm talking about the mid 80s, not the early 80s. It was terrible. It was the slow offense of pass the ball to the big man and everybody else move out the way and we'll let him back down and shoot the ball. It was, it was terrible. But when you talk about the mid 80s, Boston and Detroit and LA and Denver and Utah, Golden State. I wouldn't say so much Detroit because Detroit was a huge defense team and held teams to 80 points a game, and but when teams like Portland and Denver and Utah and Golden State averaging over 100 points a game, and then in the 90s it went back down to the 90s points a game and a little over 100. And then when you go to 2000s, that's when it went down because defense became more proficient. And then now it's back up to people scoring 125, 130 points a game because now there's the 3-point era to where you run and shoot. And then the analysis are saying that mid-range doesn't matter because now either you go shoot a 3-pointer or you go dunk the ball. There's only a few mid-range players that's going to be successful in the league. You're talking about DeMar DeRozan, mid-range, a giant. Kevin Durant, the best mid-range probably ever played the game of basketball. Even Devin Booker. Bradley Beal. And that's crazy. All three of those are on the same team. But KD can, shoot from anywhere. But as far as mid-range, he's probably the best mid-range shooter. But so going back to this era, these eras of basketball are totally different. So when you talk about the table, the seat at the table of the GOAT conversation, and you want to give LeBron the head of the table because of everything that he's accomplished throughout his career, not because he's the best basketball player ever, because that's not possible to tell. That if Jordan played in this era, maybe he would be. Maybe he would play a lot longer than when he played. Maybe he would. Maybe he never would have retired, because this is a different era of basketball. This is a different era in life. Period. There was he just now, when we talk about him working out and getting bigger, that happened after he came back from his first retirement. I mean, he worked out and tried to get bigger after he got beat up by Detroit. But when he retired in 1993, Jordan weighed 198 pounds at 6'6". When he came back from baseball and started working out, he weighed 216 pounds. That's a 20-pound difference almost. 18 pounds he put on. Because he felt that being stronger in the league now will make him more successful. He couldn't jump as high. So now, okay, what can I do to make my game even stronger? Put on some weight, muscle, and develop a turnaround jump shot and add other features to his game. So Bill Russell, if he would have played now, would he have been the most dominant player like he was back in the 60s? Because Bill Russell was 6'10", 6'11", block shots, couldn't really dribble the ball. And I'm a Celtics fan, so couldn't really dribble the ball. Could barely shoot the ball, but he was the biggest person on the floor and could defend. He could put the ball in the hole because nobody else was stopping him. And they won multiple championships. Would that happen now? No, it wouldn't happen now. Would Wilt Chamberlain dominate now like he did in the 70s and the 60s? Probably not. He'd probably be a average center in the league because he really couldn't shoot, but he knew how to get his back to the basket and score. Now the difference with these big men is with Shaq. Shaq would play. I don't think he could play in any era because he knew he couldn't shoot. He knew he couldn't hit free throws, but he had other ways to get to the rim and score. He knew how to power his way into the basket, and he knew how to defend. He could defend. I think Shaq could play on any level, in any era. I think Kobe could have played in any era. Jordan could have played in any era. Would he have been more successful in this era with the skill set that he had then? I don't know. Maybe he would have been. LeBron could have played in any era. Of course. Steph Curry could have played in any era. But we can't argue of which guy is the best basketball player in any era, because everybody didn't play in all these eras. And all these players couldn't play in the era now. So we wouldn't be able to tell. The table of the GOAT conversation: Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Magic Johnson or Shaquille O'Neal. Not in any order, not in any position. But there is a table, and there are guys sitting at that table who are the greatest basketball players of all time. So, if you have a comment, suggestion on who you think should be at the table of the greatest of all time, greatest basketball players of all time, leave a comment. Send us a comment. Go to our website at winorloseshow.com and follow us on all social media at Win or Lose Show. And make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube at Win or Lose Show. And we'll see you next time on Play by Play.